For me, the story of the day was getting that final hurdle through China. How big of a deal is that?
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of the last box to check in terms of getting the permit from the Chinese government to begin assembling and producing cars locally, which is what Tesla has been trying to do all year. So, I mean, this is sort of like the last step.
And China is the world's largest EV market. Is this what investors and analysts wanted to see in terms of getting that next demand, that next market?
Yeah, so I mean, so Tesla is a vertically integrated company, and for years they've been shipping their cars from California to markets abroad. It's hugely expensive. It's a big logistics hurdle. It makes a lot more sense for them to have local factories for local production. So they've got one in China. The next one, as you mentioned, is the one in Berlin. And yeah, I mean, I think investors are happy to see this is sort of unprecedented that the Chinese government is allowing a foreign company like Tesla to set up shop there.
Well, and particularly in the midst of the trade fight, which outside technology, that sort of tends to be the big news. How is Tesla able to work with China and the Chinese government despite heightened tensions at this moment?
I mean, I think they've been very shrewd in terms of navigating the political environment. Musk has a really strong China team. Robin Ren, who's one of a Tesla executive, is from Shanghai. He's gone to China several times. He appeared with Jack Ma from Alibaba. They've gone to Beijing a lot. And I mean, there hasn't really been much of a backlash yet. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
We also mentioned the factory in Berlin. So if we know that China is the biggest market for EV, Europe potentially could be next. How big of a deal is that the factory is in Berlin?
Well, it's a big deal because when you think of Europe, I mean, Germany is where all of the other automakers are. It's where the nameplate, Mercedes, Daimler, BMW, I mean, it's the heart of the automotive industry is in Germany, and it's where Tesla's supply chain is. So, I mean, this is really important from an engineering standpoint. And it's kind of like letting all the other automakers know that Tesla's really here to stay. And as, everyone else gets dragged kicking and screaming into electrification, Tesla's ready to kind of dominate.
Can we see them be profitable in those overseas markets?
Well, perhaps. I mean, they did record a sort of surprise profit in the third quarter. The question is always like, can they be sustainably profitable? Like, was this a one-off, or are they going to post a profit again? But I mean, clearly there's demand for the cars. I think that Tesla has even said that Europe could be stronger than North America.
Analysts have said that it might be too bold to say that the U.S. market has matured, but it certainly is a much more mature market than a Europe, than a China. Would you agree?
In terms of electric vehicles?
Yes.
Well, I think it's just that, Americans have a lot of cars and they tend to drive them for a long time. And whereas in China, you still have like a lot of people entering the middle class and buying cars for the very first time. And you have a sort of stronger incentive program in some of the European countries.
There was another fascinating story out about Solar City and going through the financial documents and the testimonies and seeing sort of what a burden Solar City has been on Tesla. What's your take?
Yeah, so there's just so much Tesla news every day. It's like 5 stories to talk about. So Tesla shareholders sued Tesla and its board of directors over the fact that Tesla bought Solar City 3 years ago. And this litigation has been ongoing. What's new is that these depositions were unsealed. And so Austin Carr and I dove into those. And it really just kind of shows how sort of tenuous the whole deal was. I mean, Musk really pushed for it with investors and with bankers. And the solar roof was kind of drummed up to kind of get the deal closed. Whether investors care or not remains to be seen. I mean, the stock is still doing very well, but 3 years later, it's like that was a bad deal. And now more details about how bad it was are coming out.